So again, good afternoon. I am Della Hicks with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Center located in Pasquotank County. We are ready to set and go today. So again, I want to thank you all for joining in with us today. I have posted the link to our survey enrollment form for those of you that have not joined in with us today. And so we're going to go ahead and get started, and those that need to join in with us can join in. Parents, those of you that are going to be preparing our recipe with us this afternoon, if you have your apples, your cinnamon, and your brown sugar, and you'll need a knife, or if you have the Cora, that will work as well. So let's get started talking about last week's session. So in sharing with you from our session on last week, we want to make sure that you remember those simple little things when it came to eating out. Again, as a reminder, try to pick and choose those things that are healthy, those things that maybe you haven't tried, but this is a good time to try it. For example, we have on our screen a baked potato or steamed vegetables instead of French fries. You can get your entree and have lots of fruits and vegetables with that. And when you pick your choices of breads, try a whole grain. When you get your salads or your sauces, don't have them put on your food items, ask for it on the side. Also, when you have a baked potato, instead of sour cream or butter, try some salsa. And of course, instead of mayonnaise on your sandwiches, let's try getting some mustard. So, one issue that we had with eating out was that depending on what you purchase when you get to that particular restaurant, that burger may be about 530 calories. The fries might be about 510 calories. Your drink might be about 280 calories. So therefore, we have to remember that our average recommended daily caloric intake is only 2,000 for most adults. So if you had all that in one meal, you've almost got your entire caloric intake for the entire day. So we want to pick and choose those things that will be healthier. So Miss Kathy is going to share something with us when it comes to eating out or just eating foods in general.
Hello, everyone. I deal with youth and adults, so we do this game, and it's kind of guessing which foods are better for you. As Della was saying, all foods can be go slow or raw foods. In fruits, we can eat fresh fruits, which would make them a go food, but then we could turn around and add sugar, like 2 strawberries or blueberries, which would then put them into a woe food. Also, vegetables are the same way. If we're going to have potatoes, baking them versus frying them for French fries. Milk is the same way. 1% or skim milk is better than whole milk. So as you see, it doesn't really matter what food you have. Some of them are going to be good for you, and some of them are going to be woe foods. So we're going to start out with a couple today. Can you see the first one I have is steamed rice? Do you think that should be a go food, a slow food, or a woe food? This would be a go food because it has very little fat in it. It's just steamed rice. We could take the steamed rice and then make it into a raw food by making fried rice, where we're going to, even though we're going to add vegetables, we're going to add fat to fry it. So that's going to change our good rice to a raw food, which is not as good for us. The same thing with our grilled chicken soft taco. This is a pretty good food because it has the wrap and it has vegetables and it has grilled chicken. But if we went for the traditional cheesy taco, the shell is fried, the hamburger's fried, we're adding the cheese. So this changes this into a food that is not as good for us. Same thing with a banana. A banana's going to be a good food. We're going to eat our fruits and vegetables every day. That's going to be a good food. But we can also take this wonderful banana and make it into a banana split, which would be a raw food because we've added.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Miss Kathy, but can anyone share with me why it would be considered as a low food or slow food? That banana split.
All of the ice cream is probably full fat. All of a banana split has a multitude of syrups on it.
Exactly.
Then they put them yummy candied pecans and stuff on there. So, but we know they're good. But that's what makes it the banana go from being a go food to a raw food.
Right, to a whoa.
Whoa food.
Yeah, big one. That's the big one. I'm sorry, we have terrible internet out here. Who thinks a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on white bread would be good? It's peanut butter, it's jelly, it's bread. It is actually a raw food. Would anybody know why? The peanut butter's fattening, the jelly is sugar, and the white bread is not good for us. We need whole grain bread because our body is going to use the white bread for pure sugar. Next is orange juice, 100% orange juice. You think even though it's 100% juice, it's going to be okay. And it is not so bad. It is better for you to eat your orange versus drinking orange juice. But when you drink juice, you are really only having only the sugar part of the fruit. So that makes that more of a slow food, not necessarily a raw food. And then we have mac and cheese, which all children love. It's mac and cheese, but it's not really a great food because the cheese has got fat in it. And you sometimes, depending on your recipe, you add butter to it. So that's more of a slow food. And then last but not least, I included hot dog because that is a food that all children love. And this time of the year, we're having them. But as everybody knows, a hot dog is a big word. So remember that it doesn't matter what food it is. Some foods are going to be good, but then you can take the good foods and make them into not so good foods. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kathy. So I hope that gave us more of a general idea, the difference between those foods that are good, those foods that are okay, and then those foods that are just whoa. So in thinking about that, also when we eat out, we need to remember to choose those beverages that are smart beverages. And when I say a smart beverage, I'm talking about like water. You only need 6 to 8 ounces of serving of water a day, and that could equal up to about 3 bottles of water throughout the day. So that's not very much. And when it's hot, we generally get that in, but in the fall and the winter, we normally don't get our servings of water in. And it's very important that we get our water in because the water helps to take our oxygen throughout our bodies. It helps to moisten our lungs as well as our joints and our organs. So also you could choose a low-fat milk or an almond milk or a skim milk. Choose a 100% juice. And instead of a regular soft drink, I guess you can do a diet soft drink or just wait until you get home. So our recipe on our last session was the brown rice with cheese and tomatoes. And I think we had fun trying that, doing that as a hands-on activity. And we're going to do another hands-on activity in just a little bit. So we also talked about our measurements and how to measure our ingredients, our dry ingredients, to lightly spoon those into your dry measuring cups. And these are your dry measuring cups. So you have to remember that there's a difference between the liquid and the dry. And with the liquid measuring cup, when you place your liquid in it, remember to set it on a flat surface, bend down to make sure that it's at the level it should be. Don't hold that cup up. Our sticky ingredients, we use dry measurings for that. So let's say like your peanut butter or your shortening or even such thing as brown sugar, because we're going to be using brown sugar today. So with our brown sugar, we would actually pack that down into the cup so that you're actually getting the correct measurement. And what that does is take out the air pockets that may be located within the sugar. So our spices, normally with our spices, we're using smaller amounts. We're also, if you're going to be using the actual container, you might need, because of the way it's designed, you might need a smaller spoon or something to reach down in there to measure that out into the correct measuring spoon. So also remember to level that off with a flat surface. And you're not going to level it off over the ingredients you will be working with. So try to do it right over top of another container so that if it spills over, you have something to dump that off on. So today we're talking about pantry pointers. And so some key things when it comes to pantry pointers, you want a variety of things that you keep in your cabinet at all times. You want something like some rice or some pasta, different types of canned foods in there. And always remember to rotate out your food products as you purchase them. Also in your cabinet, your spices, some type of canned meat, and I call some items starter bases, like your cream soups. Those things, you can make wonderful meals with them. Just make sure that you purchase them in low sodium. So sitting here today, I'm gonna swing you over and let you see my little cabinet that I have. So in my cabinet, I have some tuna. I have some flour. This is self-rising flour. I have some cornmeal. I have some macaroni noodles. I have some canned vegetables. I have some canned fruit. I have a can of corn. And I have some all-purpose, some more flour, another type of flour. I have all-purpose flour in here as well. So in talking about my little cabinet and the things that you saw me take out of my cabinet, can someone list something that you think you can make with some of those ingredients? Unmute your mic and give me an idea of what we can make from our pantry cabinet. Oh, nobody's talking. Well, we can do some biscuits.
Tuna salad.
Tuna salad. Good job, Kara. Very good. What else could we make? Anyone? What was our fruit that we had? Oh, we had
Fruit
peaches. So,
salad.
say that again.
I'm sorry. I said fruit salad.
Well, you could do a fruit salad. Well, if you had in your refrigerator, if you had some other fruits to go with your canned fruit, that will be awesome. But just from some of the ingredients that I pulled out, you could also do a peach cobbler.
Did you say didn't you say you had cornmeal?
I had cornmeal,
Make some cornbread.
some cornbread, very good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how many of you have had a tuna casserole, but we had the tuna in there. We had some mixed vegetables in there, and we could take our flour and make a roux and add some herbs and spices and take that macaroni and cook it and add that to it, put it in the oven and bake, and you have a wonderful tuna casserole.
That sounds yummy.
It sure does.
Oh, good. So that's another idea for you to have for dinner this week. So we talked also about different terminologies in the kitchen, all the different things that we hear, you know, the chopping, the simmering, the brewing, all those different things are things that we actually do and should practice when we're in our kitchen. So when it comes to our herbs and spices, this is an opportunity for us to say no to salt. By using your herbs and spices, it's going to give you an opportunity to start doing away with salt and use these spices to give flavor to enhance your food items. So this is a list of some of the foods and the different spices that you can use. Like with your beef, you can use some bay leaves or basil, some nutmeg, onions, black pepper, sage, and thyme. You know, fish, some dry mustard, some paprika and black pepper. Our summer squashes, it's squash season, nutmeg, rosemary, and some sage. And you don't have to use all of them. You can pick and choose those flavors that you like yourself. If there's something that's on your cabinet or on your spice rack that's collecting dust, wipe it off and let's use it. Let's see what other flavors you can get without using salt. So our pantries, a lot of times our pantries are jam-packed full of stuff. All that stuff that's at the bottom of that on the screen. You actually can see those items strolled all over. So what we want to always try to do is keep our cabinet as neat as possible. Even if it's once or twice a month going in your pantry and cleaning those things out, wiping your shelves down, and then let's get organized. We want to make sure that that we can see and know what's in our cabinets. Now this looks a whole lot better than the slide before this. It's neatly placed. I can just reach right in and get those food items as I need it. I have my spices so I can see my spices. I have my rice and my beans next to each other so when I'm ready for that, I can just grab that and go. I have my fruits and my vegetables and my canned meats. So again, let's try to organize as much as we possibly can. And again, when it comes to our pantry, we want to remember that when we're doing our grocery shopping. So as we run out of food items, as you can see, I have my grocery list hanging up on both sides of the doors. That way, as I run out of my spices or my food items, I can just jot it down. And then when I get ready to make my list, that way I have everything I need on my list already. I'm gonna check my freezers. I'm gonna check my refrigerators, making sure that I have those food items on my list. So another thing we want to remember when it comes to our herbs and spices, many herbs and spices can be grown on your windowsills or as a potted plants or on a deck. Um, And when it comes to your herbs and spices, remember we talked about those peppers and those other fruits and vegetables about 2 sessions ago, where we actually can take those, what we call our scrap pieces, and take those scraps, put it in a little bit of water for about 3 to 5 days, let it start to root. And then you can take that and put it in either a flower pot. You can actually plant it in your flower bed. That will be awesome as well. So we're going to get ready to get started with our recipe. And our recipe today is baked apples. So for those of you that have your apples, have you washed your apples already? And at this time, we're going to bring Angie in, and we're going to let Angie talk about.
Hello, my name is Angie, and I'm going to talk to you about how to chop an apple. And like Miss Della said, make sure you wash that apple. And before you do that, make sure you wash your hands. So wash your hands, then wash that apple, and then you're going to place it on a cutting board. But a really good idea for your cutting board is to make sure you put a damp towel under it so that it doesn't slip. So you're going to place your apple on the cutting board, a non-slip cutting board. And then you notice in the picture that she is holding the apple in a claw method. And so this is so that she will not cut her fingers off. And so then you're going to put the knife pointed down, and you're going to cut it in a rocking motion. And so once you have it cut, you want to quarter the apple. So you're going to place the flat side down because it's easier to cut a flat side of an apple. And you're going to cut the core out of each piece after you've quartered it. So you're going to quarter it into 4. Then you're going to place it a little bit on the side like that. And then you're going to cut that core off. And so once you're done, you can start making your apple. Prepare your apple. What are we making today? Baked apple.
Baked apples.
Yes.
So in talking about that, let's get started with cutting out apples. I have already pre-cut my apple. And as Miss Angie was saying about the apples, you remember to make sure you make that claw and then cut your apples on a flat surface. So also, if you're not going to use all your apples, and you know that you're not, you can always take and toss with a little bit of lemon juice, orange juice, or lime juice, and just toss your fruit around in that. And what that does is help to keep its color, and it also will give you a little bit of nice flavor as well. And then you can refrigerate these for maybe a day or so, or eat it as a snack later. So in talking about our apples that we're getting ready to bake, so very nice job, Kara. I see you using your apple core, this nice apple slicer core. And then you're going to make sure that you have a microwavable safe dish that you're going to put it in. So once you get that sliced, and I say Kara because I can see Kara on my screen right now, but maybe someone else that's cooking along with us today. So it calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So I'm going to put my brown sugar in. And then it also calls for a teaspoon of cinnamon. So as I said, I always measure over something. So I always tear off a little bit of wax paper, and then I can, when I get ready to level it out, anything extra is going to actually go on the wax paper, and I could just drop it right back into the container. And that way I don't have a mess all over everywhere. So we're going to take our cinnamon and our brown sugar and our apples, and we're just going to mix them up. Get it nice and coated. And then we're going to put it in our microwave for about 30 seconds. And if your microwave is going on the blank, then we can actually put it in the oven. And in the oven, it's okay to bake for about 30 minutes on about 350 degrees. So quick, simple, easy, delicious recipe. And it doesn't matter what type of apple you use. I've even done it with pears before. So it's a good idea to try something different, a nice snack idea. I do snack o'clock with my family. So that will be a wonderful snack o'clock to nibble on. So again, in talking about pantry pointers, the key thing again with pantry pointers is making sure that you have some ideas to do with anything you have on hand. Because I had some people that say, well, I didn't have canned meat. You don't always have to have meat. If you have beans, remember beans are considered our meat alternative. So therefore, it's a way that you can actually be able to try something different with a recipe. Add some beans, some chickpeas. So this is our outcome. Let me get my other pot holder so you can see what it looks like. Our nice baked apples. And you can see it did brown just a little bit with the help of the cinnamon and the sugar. And it's made our apples nice and tender that a wonderful fork could go through. And such a wonderful, delicious dish. Remember, those things that are hot, you need to let them stay cool for about a minute or so and cool down, because you do not want to burn yourself. So children, always have some assistance with your parents so that you will not injure yourselves. So right now, we're going to actually incorporate a little bit of music into our physical activity. So when it comes to our physical activity, let's see. Okay. Let's get a different sound to go with our physical activity. We want to. That sounds pretty good, because we can do something slow or we can do something fast when it comes to this sound. So if you don't have a stretch band, remember you can always use a rubber band. Or you can always take a sock or stocking, or you can always, for other physical activities, you can take a frisbee and play catch back and forth with someone, or you can use a jump rope, a hula hoop, or you can take some products in your refrigerator or in your cupboards and get some physical activity in as well. Remember, we need at least 60 minutes in a day's time of physical activity. Take a walk after your meals. You can do several things when it comes to physical activity. So, are there any questions today in regards to pantry safety or just remembering to go back and clean out your pantry? The key thing is doing it on a regular basis, making sure you read the labels and dates on your canned product, rotate those out because it's very important. You do not want to get botulism. Those food items that have an acidity base to it, if there's a puncture or a dent on the seam, it's very possible that botulism could set in.
I have a question, Miss Della. This is
Yes.
something I learned from you, but I don't know if everybody else knows it. And it's something that I've noticed at my grocery stores right now. And that is, it's very hard to find rice. And so I learned when I came to visit you that of something that I would have never thought of to substitute for rice. And so I don't know if you want to tell them or you want me to tell them, but
You can
I
share.
had no
what we
clue, and it worked out wonderful, and it tasted great.
What was it that we used?
When I came to see Miss Della, she was the first person. We used grits, and I would have never thought of using grits as a substitute for rice. And she used it in it is a stuffed pepper casserole, and it was awesome. And what I've noticed going to the grocery store is I cannot buy rice. There is no rice to be found on the shelves. And I don't know if it's the same way in other counties, but just to throw that, I was amazed when she told me it was grits, and then I was even more amazed when I tried it. Because I mean, I like grits, but I would have never thought of putting it in a stuffed pepper casserole. So just to toss that out there to you, because rice is hard to come by.
Yes, it is. And that's the thing, being adventuresome, trying different things. We're always so used to the normal. We wouldn't have, when I got ready to do that particular recipe, the stuffed peppers, there was two different things that I did with the recipe. So instead of actually stuffing the peppers, we cut the peppers up. We julienne them, which is just slicing them. And then we took those same ingredients and just sauteed it. And then instead of the rice, we use grits. A lot of people have grits on hand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I know that there's a lot of pantry staples that are hard to find right now with COVID-19. So when you were going over pantry staples, I thought that just came to my mind of you using grits that day and just how good it was.
Thank you, Chrissy. Is there anyone else that has a question
You're
or
welcome.
comment? So I am going to send you this little poll. And if you all will answer, I only did 3 questions today. But I just want to get a little bit of feedback from you all. So the first question is, if you have flour, canned peaches, brown sugar, and cinnamon, name some things that you can make with that. And then, of course, the next one is talking about if you had tuna, macaroni, mixed vegetables, and some spices, what could you make with that? And then, of course, our last question in regards to our sessions. And I hope you all have enjoyed these sessions. I've had fun sharing with you each week, and I am going to show you all the results from our poll. So that's our results from what you all said. So I'm glad you all have enjoyed the sessions. I tried to make it as interactive as I can. I know sometimes you're stressful, you're tired, you just need something else to do. So I figured that our Ready, Set, Go sessions would be a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to come in and join in with me with some hands-on food preparations. So, Kara, would you like to share about your baked apples?
I tasted it before it went in the microwave and it tasted good, but I didn't taste it after.
Very good. Are you going to share those with your brother?
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, is there anyone else that will have a question or would like to make a comment?
I'd just like to thank you for all that you're doing, and I've tried some of the things, and I'll do the apples. I was going to do it now, but I thought it's going to be a few more hours before my husband gets home.
Okay.
It'll be a good, I like your snack o'clock. I've been seeing those, and I think he likes it. It'll be a difference. Maybe he'll put the ice cream down for a day.
And also I see where someone said about the cauliflower rice. Very good. Taking the cauliflower and chopping it up and cooking it and using it in place of your rice, as well as you can take the cauliflower and make pizza dough with it. So those are wonderful ideas.
And if you can't find fresh cauliflower, the stores, fresh cauliflower to make the cauliflower rice, the stores also usually have a store brand cauliflower rice in the freezer section that is really good. I have made a taco casserole that instead of using regular rice, you used the cauliflower rice. And I will tell you that nobody noticed that it was cauliflower rice. So it was really good.
Very good. And the key thing again is when we have picky family members, don't always have them in the kitchen when you're doing surprises in the meal. And I call that a surprise because if you don't like it, then surprise, you did like it in the meal. And sometimes
that's just when you made that casserole with the stuffed pepper casserole, the man that was sitting there saying he didn't like squash, and you looked at him and said, well, guess what? You're eating it. Exactly. And he was like, no.
Exactly.
If they don't know, a lot of times if you don't tell them, they don't know it's in there.
Exactly. And again, that comes with using your herbs and spices as well. That's what's going to bring out flavor in our foods. So remember, take advantage of using your herbs and spices. Be adventuresome. Just try a different spice on something that you normally would cook and see how that spice may enhance your meal. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you again for joining in with us with Ready, Set, Go. And today's session was Pantry Pointers. I'm Della Hicks with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Center here in Pasquotank, and I share the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless everybody.
Bye.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe, everybody.
You too.
Okay. You too. Okay.